Hey guys, Stucky here. You ever wanted to try the best version of the Action Network app? Well, now is the perfect opportunity to do so because we have a special offer to celebrate the month of March and the NCAA tournament. You can get pro access for just $9.99 for the first month. That will give you access to things like Sean Kerner's player prop projections, which are invaluable, real-time money percentages, and our model's biggest edges, and much more. All you have to do is head over to actionnetwork.com/madness. That's actionnetwork.com/madness and get there before the deal expires. Cheers. Let's let's go out west to Vegas. We'll start with the Mountain West. 11 team field starts on Wednesday. Top 5 seeds get a bye to the quarters on Thursday. Championship game played on Saturday. To show you how deep this league is, potential tourney teams: New Mexico and Colorado State, 6 and 7 seeds. There's a riddle me this: New Mexico beats Air Force, Boise, Nevada, loses to UNLV in the final. 7-team Mountain West.
I think it is. If that happens, yeah, because you can't drop New Mexico out. Nevada, Boise, Utah State, San Diego State pretty comfortably in. Colorado State's fading, but they've got the 2 monster non-con wins that I think are going to continue to age well and keep them in. And yeah, UNLV playing on its home floor, they've been awesome against all the top teams in this league, and they don't have to play a quad 4 game in the tournament starting off with San Diego State. So it's well within the realm of possibility. And I'll be honest, Stucky, I'm going to go start off with a hot take here. I'm okay with 7 teams getting in from this league because that's 7 Mountain West teams we get to bet against.
Mountain West not had outside of San Diego State last year, has not had much success in the tournament. Does that have anything to do, you think, with altitude? Like they benefit from altitude outside of like during league play and then don't get that? Do you think there's any correlation there?
I think absolutely. I think it was Andrew Weatherman on Twitter tweeted like how the BPI really devalues a lot of the elevation teams from Big Sky, even down to like Texas Tech and Lubbock's a little elevated. A couple of teams in the Appalachian area, it really devalues those teams that play in elevation. And I went through and all those teams like in the NCAA tournament are like 36% against the spread, all the elevation teams. And it just feels like they've gotten inflated in some of the rankings. And look, I trust Ken Pomeroy and Bart Torvik to do this stuff better than I do, but it does seem like potentially that's a weakness in their ratings, is that these elevation teams get overrated and then they get into the dance and they're just not quite the same team.
Yep. Speaking of UNLV, which will play in Vegas, do you know the last time UNLV won the conference tournament?
1992. Was it that? Those Running Rebels? Is it that far back?
Nope. It's 2008.
Kevin
UNLV
Kruger?
won. Yep. They beat Kent. Then they beat Kent State. They were an 8 seed. Then they lost to number 1 seed Kansas in the tournament. I believe the tournament MVP was Wink Adams, if you remember him. That's the last time UNLV did it. Looking at the odds here, San Diego State plus 230. They are the favorite. Utah State, the 1 seed. Also, to show you how deep this league is, Utah State's the 1 seed. I think they're the 6th or 5th highest finished team on KenPom in the Mountain West. Is that true? 5th or 6th?
Yeah, they're down there. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're like sub 40, but they secure the 1 seed and the outright regular season title with a bizarre finish. A huge shot by Darius Brown, and then I don't know what the officials were doing at the end of that game, but New Mexico ended up losing. Utah State gets settled. They're plus 440. Always shop around. I'm just going off one book here. Nevada plus 550, Boise plus 600, Colorado State plus 700, New Mexico plus 700, UNLV plus 850. This huge conglomerate of teams all in that range. And then you have the super long shots: Wyoming, Fresno, San Jose State, Air Force 250 to 1. I think we can cross out those 4 teams to start with, correct?
Yes, this is a 7-team tournament. Those four, maybe you get covers because you're going to get huge numbers in those opening round games for San Jose State against Colorado State and Air Force against New Mexico. But I think we get the top 7 in that quarterfinal round, and those are the ones that belong there. We don't have to worry about futures on the long shots.
Yeah, New Mexico could punch their NIT berth by losing to a team that might cost them an NCAA tournament. In Air Force, that's who they'll kick things off with, who they somehow lost to at home. But I'll say right off the bat, I don't see any that zero value whatsoever in San Diego State at plus 230. That is a horrific number. I have them. I have a bunch of teams that are like 15 to 20% like to win this, all in that range, like 5 to 1, 6 to 1. San Diego State has to start off with a road game where they're going to be where they just lost at UNLV. UNLV's defense is incredible. I know San Diego State started off that game like 2 of 25 from the field, but it's not like San Diego State has traveled well this year. Part of that is the altitude. I think that some of their road splits are really hurt by altitude. Someone like Jay Powell, I think he really struggles. If you look at his numbers in altitude and his minutes go way down, I think he has like a physical issue in altitude, which is something worth noting. It will be something worth noting if the committee sends San Diego State to Salt Lake City. So they could end up playing in more altitude games, which I'm sure they don't want. But they'll start off with UNLV, tough game, 2 really tough defenses. And then, for Utah State to be plus 440 compared to San Diego State, I mean, I think that's way off. I mean, just from a price discrepancy perspective, because Utah State, much easier game against Wyoming or whoever's left on the Fresno State roster. And then when Utah State and San Diego State play each other, it basically comes down to like who can hit outside shots. And I, almost trust Utah State to do that more, but I don't think there should be that wide of a price discrepancy between the two. So let's start up top in the top half of the region. What do you see?
Yeah, similar thoughts. I couldn't believe that San Diego State is that far separate when they have to win 3 difficult games, and Utah State technically, I mean, they would have to probably beat 2 of the top 7, considering the first round matchup, Wyoming or Fresno State, like you said. Their guards have left me a little bit cold. They don't have like the go-getter bucket guy like Matt Bradley last year. Butler and Trammell are solid, but they just don't have that kind of juice one-on-one. I don't love teams whose best player is a big man, and I guess that technically is both Utah State and San Diego State here. They've got to feed Osibor, feed Ledee. These guys are tremendous, but it's hard to feed them late in the game if the team is taking the opponent's taking them away. You can scheme out a big man much easier. So I don't really see a ton of value on the top of the bracket. Like you said, you got to bet Utah State if you're going to do anything with either of those teams. But you mentioned the 7th in the league or 6th in the league in KenPom. I don't fully trust them. Do you think there's anything to Sprinkle being a foot out the door, considering he's heavily rumored as a Washington candidate?
Yeah, I don't know. That's very interesting. It's I mean, I'm not betting Utah State, but that's definitely worth mentioning. Like like UNLV with their size, they can give Ledee trouble. And then like the 2 bigs for Utah State and San Diego State, they kind of neutralize each other. That's why. And then based on how those defenses play, like who's going to make threes? I don't know. I would assume if I had to guess, I think San Diego State probably gets the revenge over UNLV. They'll be a small favorite over Utah State. Like I think San Diego State comes out of this top half, but I don't trust them, and definitely am not running to bet plus 230. Absolutely zero value in the number. And I think Utah State's like close to fair. So, I mean, in San Diego State, they're going to have to go up against a UNLV team that needs to win. And you're going to get their best shot, and they're playing incredible basketball. And like you said, they've played all the top teams really well. So that's not going to be a walk in the park by any stretch. So yeah, I'm staying away from the top half. Moving to the bottom half of the bracket, Colorado State, they get a walk in the park against San Jose State to kick things off. And then they will presumably get Nevada. Nevada's plus 550, as I mentioned. Colorado State plus 700. Nevada won at Colorado State on a ridiculous Jared Lucas half-court shot after he blew the game from the free throw line. And then you have New Mexico taking on Air Force. You assume New Mexico is going to get by Air Force this time. And then they will take on a Boise State team that I don't think they necessarily match up very well with, but New Mexico is 7-1. What do you see in the bottom half?
Both those, the 2 and the 3 seeds, yeah, Nevada and Boise, they just got a lot of versatile size that I think is a tough matchup for Colorado State and New Mexico coming out of those opening round games. That Nevada Colorado State game that you mentioned with the Lucas half quarter, Blackshear didn't even play
Blackshear
in
didn't
that
play,
one.
no.
Yeah, their key point guard, and Colorado State
In
still
Fort
had a ton of
Collins.
troubles. Yeah, and it was like a perfect spot for them. Like they were off 2 losses. It's like this is where you get your home run game, and they weren't able to summon one. So Nevada is the team that's playing the best in the Mountain West. They've won 10 of their last 11 since February 1st. They're 14th in Bart Torvik. Like they have trended up really well, and the fact that 2 of those games they didn't even have Blackshear, arguably their best player. The combination of size and skill is really intriguing with Nevada. Lucas is a gunner, a true no conscious guy on the perimeter. Blackshear is a mega versatile point guard. McIntosh is playing better. He got a lot of confidence when Blackshear was out, so they got more in the backcourt. And then Davidson up front. It's like, okay, we've actually got a front court guy that stretches the floor, allows our bigger guards to get downhill and have more driving lanes. I like Nevada a lot. I feel weird saying that about a Steve Alford team, but this is where that's probably the team I'm most intrigued by betting here in the futures market.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think they're also potentially one of the few teams that I'm really looking to back, maybe, even though we just talked about fading. But
I'm
yeah,
I'm
I mean,
still
they just
scarred. I'm the first 4 last year. They got down 40-0 against Arizona State. I can't handle it. I can't do it again.
yeah, that was definitely traumatizing, especially if you had the pack. But yeah, they're super versatile. Like you have a guy like you mentioned, McIntosh, who doesn't play any defense, but who can come in and fill it up. You also can go like, Himes is incredible defensively, and he's probably gonna foul. He'll probably play like 18 minutes and foul out, but he'll give you like really good rim protection. Or you can go like with Davidson, who's going to give you that offensive threat. You could so like they have just a ton of versatility, and then like positional size. Blackshear can be a matchup nightmare. So yeah, I think they match up really well with Colorado State, and I think Boise, for some of those same reasons, matches up really well with New Mexico. You're going to get a desperate New Mexico team, but I like them. I like Nevada to come out of the bottom half, and at 6-1 ish, they're probably the only team that I'm targeting to back from a futures perspective in the Mountain West. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just kind of note on New Mexico. Last year, they lost 8 of their final 11 and lost by 15 in the quarterfinals of this tournament. Turn the page to this year. They've lost 6 of their final 10. Probably going to have a tough matchup in the quarterfinals against Boise State. It feels like kind of the same movie. You mentioned them being desperate. I almost don't like desperate New Mexico because then they start taking bad shots, and there's a lot of like my turn, your turn with all their guards. I know Mashburn missed the finale against Utah State, but probably back in there for this one, for the tournament. That just makes me nervous. Boise State, better coach team with Leon Rice. They take better shots. The Max Rice plus Dagenhart plus Stanley combination, I think, is really tough for New Mexico to handle. Rice had like 30 at New Mexico. It was like the game of his life. But Boise still gives them problems overall. So I'm with you. It's Nevada for me. That's, I think, the best value and the best draw.
Yeah, that New Mexico. I don't know if they've ever fully figured out the right distribution and rotation in their backcourt, and they're also I just don't fully trust their defense. If they're not getting turnovers, I don't fully trust their defense, but I just don't think they've figured, like, they had all early in the season, they had all, they never had everyone healthy together. So they didn't have time to build continuity. And, you've seen the potential at times, but I just don't think they've ever fully figured it out. And in regards to Colorado State, I mean, I love Isaiah Stevens. I love Medved. I would need like 10-1 to back them here. They're also not super deep, and I know they get San Jose State first, but you have to win 4 games in 4 days. So I can't get behind Colorado State. So it's Nevada or pass. Any other matchups you're targeting or anything else you want to note here?
Yeah, just fading Colorado State because so many teams in this league have awesome big men and they don't, and it's hurt them. They were much better in non-conference play than in league play, so a team I want to avoid. One other little note: Utah State did not play a single power conference team in the non-conference. Like they kind of didn't. I think they tried to schedule them, but weren't able to get them, and they turned the roster over. So Sprinkle doesn't want a crazy, ambitious non-conference slate. But as they go into the NCAA tournament, that is concerning to me. If you put them up against power conference athleticism, that's an issue. And his 2 teams that made the tournament for Montana State got absolutely destroyed in the first round. So I think the same thing could happen to Utah State in the big dance.